This episode of Tour the World is brought to you by Evergreen Tours, a world of discovery, and Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage.
G'day there and welcome to Tour the World. Real people, real travel experiences. Now, we join Aussie tour groups exploring some of the world's most amazing destinations. And this week, part 2 of our extraordinary journey around Southern Africa and Victoria Falls with Evergreen Tours. Now, whatever preconceptions you might have about travelling to Africa, put them aside. I promise you this destination will delight and amaze you.
The Big Five for this week track down the amazing Bushman rock art in the Drakensberg, shuck an oyster or two in South Africa's crustacean capital, Knysna, explore colonial history at Cape Town Castle. Africa's markets are a souvenir shopper's delight, and come face to face with the Big Five in Kruger National Park. This incredible tour gets underway in Cape Town, heading along the garden route to Knysna. We travel inland to the fabulous Addo Elephant Park, then on to Port Elizabeth, Durban and spectacular Cathedral Peak in the Drakensberg. We pass through Swaziland before our 2-night stay on the edge of the Kruger National Park. It's on to the Blader River Canyon, then a flight to Zimbabwe and the incomparable Victoria Falls. Now, Evergreen Tours offers a deluxe style of touring with fabulous accommodation and all the key sites included in the itinerary. Last week we met our tour group and a few of the locals along the way. As we mentioned last week, Southern Africa is the destination that really does offer something for everyone. As we set off from Cape Town on this incredible 18-day journey. So, on with part 2.
Wow, it is South Africa's biggest national park and its biggest tourist attraction. Of course, I'm talking about the legendary Kruger National Park. Now, we're going to catch up with a few of the residents here at the park a little later on, but right now we're off to the spectacular Drakensberg.
As we travel through the South African interior towards the Drakensberg, South Africa's highest mountain range, the landscape is constantly changing. It's much more arid than the lush garden route down south. We arrive at the wonderful Cathedral Peak Hotel for our overnight stay. Now, the Drakensberg is renowned not only for its spectacular mountain scenery, but also its hiking. So we set off on a guided walk to see some of the Sand Bushman rock art this area is famous for.
I thought it was just, a little trip up the mountain, but it wasn't that easy, but it was fun. It was really fun, and we all looked at one another and thought, we're mad, but we made it. We were told there were some paintings on top of the mountain.
Because that rock art is fascinating.
Yes,
thousands of years old.
It was, and the scenery from up there to look down and everything else. No, it was lovely. And the waterfall, we stopped at the waterfall before we started to climb, and no, it was great. And it was fun with a few of the group members.
Further north, and we arrive at Kruger National Park for our 2-night stay. Welcome to one of the world's premier wildlife sanctuaries and one of the absolute highlights of this tour. Kruger is home to an incredible array of scaly, furry and feathered critters of all shapes and sizes. And while we'd all love to come face to face with the Big Five during our game drive, this is a wildlife park. So you can never be too sure of exactly what you'll see. The best way to experience Kruger is just to leave all your expectations at the gate. And there literally is something new to encounter around every corner, like this incredible troop of baboons by the roadside. And we thoroughly enjoy the impromptu passing parade. During our lunch stop at a rest camp, I catch up with our guide, Ranger Ed, to find out more about this amazing park.
The Kruger National Park is a vast area. It's about 2 million hectares. And it is called the Kruger National Park because it was established by our former president of the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic, Paul Kruger. He suggested the notion of starting a national conservation area in 1884. He was met with a lot of opposition from the General South African Republic, but eventually in 1888 he got the notion through and they started the first conservation reserve in South Africa.
How did they get the name, the Big Five?
Well, Big Five is a hunting term. Obviously, in earlier years, there was a lot of hunting taking place, still is today. The Big Five doesn't actually refer to the size of the animals. It is actually the 5 most dangerous animals to hunt while you're on foot. So the Big Five consists out of lion, leopard, buffalo, rhino, and elephant.
What's the most dangerous animal in the park for humans?
The animal responsible for the most human deaths in Africa, the mammal, is the hippopotamus. It is a very, very territorial animal and it has a fear of humans. So when it encounters humans, it tends to become aggressive.
What's your favourite animal in the park?
My favourite animal in the park is the elephant. Elephants are extremely intelligent, they're extremely emotional creatures. And yeah, I personally think the elephant is the king of the jungle. Most people would tell you it's the lion, but I encounter elephants and lions on a daily basis, and I know that the lions are scared of elephants.
Well, these gentle giants, which can weigh up to 6,000 kilos, certainly stop us in their tracks, as an entire herd decides to cross the road.
Well, there were cars everywhere and these elephants were walking across the road, like the elephant walk, and it was just beautiful to see them walking down the street.
And of course, all the cars were being held up.
Yes, the whole lot. It was just like a traffic jam.
And did the elephants care?
No, they didn't. They didn't care who was there.
And another of our favourite moments?
I think when we came upon this great, majestic, tall giraffe right by the side of the road, and he was just standing there. He was a very mature fellow, and he was just standing there, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought, that's not real, but it was.
That was actually a spine-tingling moment, I thought.
It was, because he was just there.
And he was huge.
He was enormous. We were trying to guess how tall he was, because he was just nibbling at the top of a tree, and I've never seen anything quite so awesome.
And isn't that what travel's all about?
New experiences, yes.
Saying farewell to Kruger, we continue further north along the spectacular panorama route. First stop, God's Window, which you might remember from the hit film The Gods Must Be Crazy. Then on to the mighty Blader River Canyon. This is the world's 3rd largest canyon at 26 kilometres long and just under 800 metres deep. The Burke's Luck potholes are another popular tourist spot in the area. These fascinating geological oddities have been carved over millions of years, where the Blader River meets the Treur River, before they join forces and head off to continue the age-old job of sculpting the Blader River Canyon. There's a series of footbridges that crisscross the potholes for your viewing pleasure. On to Zimbabwe for another of the highlights of this tour, the incomparable Victoria Falls. David Livingstone was the first European to encounter the falls back in 1855. But they've been known to locals for thousands of years as the smoke that thunders. Victoria Falls is generally recognised as the world's largest expanse of falling water at 1.7 kilometres wide. It's an absolutely amazing sight. Our 2-night stay in Victoria Falls also includes an afternoon cruise on the mighty Zambezi River. And again, we have a chance to meet some of the local wildlife while enjoying sundowners African style.
When it comes to talking history, Southern Africa is a heavy hitter. The world's oldest evidence of our Homo sapien hombres was found right here. It's 117,000 years old. We're not going quite that far back on this tour. We pick things up in the 1600s in colonial Cape Town.
Cape Town's Castle of Good Hope is officially recognised as South Africa's oldest building. It was constructed in the late 17th century by the Dutch East India Company to protect the Dutch settlement at the Cape, which acted as a refreshment stop for ships travelling from the Netherlands to the East Indies. As eventual British colonisation pushed Dutch Boer farmers further inland to what is now northern KwaZulu-Natal. Rising racial tensions led to the Boer Wars of the 1800s. The young nation of Australia took part in the Anglo-Boer War of 1890 to 1902. And we visit the site of the first battle at Talana Hill outside Dundee. The excellent Talana Hill Museum and Heritage Park is packed with ageing memorabilia from the conflict, and you could literally spend hours here studying the vast collection of soldiers' uniforms, medals, press clippings and photographs. Today, the peaceful surroundings and simple farm buildings seem strangely at odds with the violent battle that took place here. There's time to visit the small cemetery, which honours some of the young men who fell during this sad chapter in South African history. And the roots of apartheid in South Africa can be traced back to these conflicts. We learn more during a visit to the Red Location Museum in Port Elizabeth, which chronicles the 50-year struggle for Black South Africans to gain equality during the apartheid regime of 1948 through to 1990. Check with your tour leader whether there's time in Port Elizabeth for a stop here. If so, the museum is a thought-provoking and moving collection of photographs and displays that document the forced removal and segregation of blacks into mass townships. Apartheid laws later led to separate beaches, buses, schools and hospitals. Voting rights and even citizenship was stripped away. Anti-apartheid revolutionary Nelson Mandela was jailed for 27 years for resistance against apartheid.
Now, in February 1990, this square in the centre of Cape Town was packed with 100,000 people expecting the imminent release of Nelson Mandela. Now, at 4 o'clock, the cavalcade arrived and Mr. Mandela appeared on this very balcony at Town Hall to the thunderous applause of the entire world. It was the end of the apartheid system.
Mandela was later elected president of a democratic South Africa. This week, we continue our African tour for the taste buds with some local specialties. Firstly, of the local drop. We take a day trip to the amazing Winelands region outside Cape Town, with our first stop, the Anura Winery. The Mediterranean-style climate of this region, with its warm, dry summers and cold, crisp winters, means bold reds like Merlot, Shiraz and Cab Savs, along with crisp whites including Chardonnays and Sauv Blancs. A wine and cheese tasting at Anura is a delightful way to get our day underway.
Now, Vivian, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I don't usually need an excuse to have a glass of wine, but today I've got one because the early colonists here on the Cape believed that wine was good for the medicinal treatment of scurvy. Who'd have thought? They planted the first vineyards outside Cape Town, and today it is one of the world's premier winemaking regions. Shall we give it a try? Cheers.
On to our second stop of the day, the magnificent Takara Winery outside the town of Stellenbosch. Takara also offers a range of award-winning wines to try.
The Wineland tour was another unexpected adventure. They make a lot of wines in South Africa. We tried some of them. The hospitality right throughout the country's been great, including Winelands. And overall, a great day, good weather, good company, and the hostesses were great.
Absolutely, John. And now it's time to try another local specialty, this time in the resort town of Knysna, the oyster capital of South Africa.
Now, tell me a little bit about the oyster trade here on the Garden Route.
Adam, Knysna is renowned for the oysters in this part of the world. We are very popular for the common rock oyster that is found on the coastline between Algoa Bay and False Bay, which is just the other side of Cape Town.
Now look, I'm no expert when it comes to oysters, so a beautiful plate of oysters gets delivered to your table like this. How can you tell you're getting a good oyster?
Well, Adam, the first thing you should do when you get a plate of oysters is look at the oyster. Firstly, it should have a nice, clean sheen to it. If it doesn't have a sheen to it, it means that it's been open prior. I don't know how long, it might have been a couple of hours. Secondly, you look at the colour. A nice ivory colour is a very good sign of the oyster. Anything other than that, it's suspect. Then, secondly, smell. Smell the oyster. Nice, crisp, clean, salty smell. And the smell of the ocean.
Yeah, it's very
Nothing
clean.
else.
It doesn't smell
Exactly.
fishy.
Exactly.
So far, so good.
All right, so Marianne, you're going to show me how to shuck an oyster.
Okay.
How many oysters do you shuck a day normally?
Oh, too many.
Too many. Right. Okay, let's give it a go. So show me how it's
Okay.
done. Okay, so the oyster shucker goes in, then you just kind of wedge it open.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, there you go. The little lid comes off. Oh, fantastic. Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
All right. Have you ever opened one and found a pearl inside?
No.
No. Oh, that's a bit of bad luck. So we've done the shucking. Now it's time for the eating.
Most important part of the oyster.
Absolutely. Now, is there an art to that as well?
Not really. All you have to do is basically when you grab the oyster, start from the back, have the oyster. That's where the meat of the oyster lies. You just pull it to the back and it's got a little sinew here right here in the front. And you just use a fork, tear it off, and you're ready to go. Okay. Dress it with whatever you like. You can have Tabasco, lemon, some black pepper maybe. You're good to go.
Okay, righto. Well, let's have a go while we're here. I'll get this one up here now and give it a bit of a loosen up. All right. Ooh, it looks delicious. Nice and slimy.
You enjoy that.
Actually, you know what? It's not too bad. They're actually very nice.
Yeah, very
Oh, they're nice. They're
And
beautiful.
it's got fresh, clean flavour. Taste of the ocean.
Yum. Oysters. Knysna. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure you get.
How would you like to win an amazing touring package? Well, here's your chance from Tour the World. This fabulous prize includes a $1,000 voucher towards a tour for 2 people from Evergreen Tours, a world of discovery. A stylish set of 3 Drive Light luggage cases from Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage. A selection of Go travel products to help you get the most from your travel experience. And a men's holiday wardrobe to the value of $500 from Uberman. Contemporary urban looks and uncompromising quality. Just tell us in 25 words or less where you'd like to tour to and why. Visit tourtheworld.com.au.
Now, this is the part of the tour I love the best. It's the shopping. And of course, shopping in Africa is fun. Lots of arts and crafts to enjoy. A special mention from Customs. They have quite enough goatskin covered bongo drums. Thank you very much. So be careful what you can and can't bring back into Australia. And I think I'll take this home for the mother-in-law. What do you think?
This one is very nice for the two good decorating in the house, the big house.
Well, if you're lucky enough to have a big house, then Africa's curio markets will make sure you fill it with an amazing array of souvenirs from this trip. As I said, be careful what you can and can't take home. Most of these wooden items are treated, so no problems there. Generally, animal skins and other animal products are a no-no. Haggling is expected and it's part of the experience. But remember, these souvenirs won't break the bank, so keep a sense of humour. There's something to suit every taste, and it really is a great way to engage with the locals.
Now, speaking of shopping, have you done much along the way?
No,
Oh,
no,
you surprised me, Louisa.
Yes, I know. I bought 4 giraffes and 1 elephant.
Oh, beautiful.
No, because as you know, I'm going further on and my bags are packed and I had to behave, unfortunately.
I'd have to say it's just an amazing place. I really think it's one of the most beautiful places I've seen in all my travels. I really do.
Now, if you think this tour ticks all the boxes on your holiday checklist, then call Evergreen Tours or go online to evergreentours.com. Wow, what an amazing place to wrap things up here at the spectacular Blader River Canyon in Southern Africa with Evergreen Tours. It's just been an incredible tour. Now, if you want more details, jump on our website or track us down on Facebook. And please come and tour the world again with us next week. See you then.